Only 14 years old. Call your mama. Here, call your mama right now. You got to get out my house.
It's unfortunate because a lot of us do write them off as badass kids. We write them off as kids that are beyond reproach, that are beyond repair, and the punishment never fits the demise. Kicking a 14-year-old out is probably one of the most stupid things you could do, because what I genuinely don't understand is we have these children in broken homes. We live in the hood, in the worst districts. We put them in the worst schools with the worst teachers and the worst principals with even worse children. And then we're confused when they turn out fucking crazy. Not all kids are going to turn out like that. At the end of the day, there's always going to be, that little skew that navigates the drug dealing and, being put in an environment that honestly is against them, right? Shit, I'm one of those. Grew up in the hood, got a bachelor's, master's. I run 2 businesses, and now I just found a nonprofit. I definitely am that small percentage that made it out. But I also have friends that made it out. Police officers, lawyers, shit, working for City Hall, all types of shit. But I have friends that are legitimate statistics. Do I love them any less? No. But at the same time, I understand that their upbringing, okay, the system, okay, let me just say their upbringing and their circumstances were completely against them. And the fact that they fell into it is not 1,000% their fault. It does come to a point where you become an adult and you need to start making better choices. But this is a 14-year-old.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. Welcome to another video. As you guys can tell by the intro as well as the title, we're going to talk about this video that went viral a little while ago because a lot of you guys sent it to me, but I'm now seeing it. And honestly, the video popped up on my timeline and I had loads to say. So I haven't done one of these types of videos in a very long time for various different reasons, but I do want to get back into these because the whole idea of embarrassing your child online and thinking you did something by doing that genuinely bothers me. And since I've had so much more teaching experience, specifically with kids that act like this girl or who are going through the same things as this girl, I felt like I could add more to the conversation. Also, I know a lot of you guys have either already watched this video or have your opinions. Of course, feel free to leave everything down below before we get started. And while you're doing that, shout out to all of you guys who follow me on Instagram and have been sending me congratulations for finally becoming a founder of my nonprofit, LakayRo. For those of you guys who are not aware, I've always wanted to own a nonprofit that was dance-based for underprivileged youth and adults because honestly, dance saved my life and it's always been one of those things that I always wanted to give back with. And I understand that there are so many people out there that really want to dance but can't. So that is what LakayRo is for. For those of you guys who need a little bit of a clarification, I own 2 businesses and now I'm a director of a nonprofit that I have founded. The main reason I decided to make it a nonprofit and not another business is because I would not be able to serve the communities I wish to serve if I were to have it as a standard business. My goal is to eventually have all services be free, have a performance component, competition component, scholarships, all of that. So it's yeah, making it a business would have been faster and all of that. But at the same time, there's a mission that I have, and the mission can only be met if I made it a nonprofit. Shout out to those of you guys who have donated. It means so much to me if that's something you wish to do. Everything is going to be linked down below. And for those of you guys who are in my area, I can't wait to see you. We are starting our first set of dance classes in March. They're going to be Konpa based because you already know I love me some Konpa. And every month we're going to rotate and have a different genre of dance for the month. So again, if you guys want to go, if you guys want to donate, everything's going to be linked down below. No pressure, but shout out to all of you guys who've been sharing, sending me congratulations, all that. Additionally, if you guys are still trying to go to Brazil, stop procrastinating, okay? Shout out to those of you guys who already secured your spot, but we are going to Brazil July 2026. That information will be down below as well. I also have multiple channels. A lot of you guys are always confused when you see my face. Multiple channels. This is the main channel. I got a Haitian channel as well as a personal channel. So let's watch this together because I feel like every time I watch this, I have more opinions that come to mind.
I'm not going to keep doing this same thing in my house. You have to get out my house. I'm sorry, I don't know where you gonna go, but you can call your mama and ask her, can you come back
You already
down?
know she don't want me with her, so why would you even?
I don't care. You keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing. I send you to school, you ditch your school. You steady calling these little boys. I told
I
you.
don't even talk to nobody.
Look, I told you to stay away from these little boys. We're not gonna keep doing this. I'm not going over this no more with you. You have to get your stuff and get out my house. Yes, you have to figure it out. You gotta figure it out. I'm tired. Call your mama right now. Call your mom. See, that's your problem. That's your problem right now. Your attitude. You're only 14 years old. Call your mama. Here. Call your mama right now. You gotta get out my house. I'm done. You too grown. You're only 14 years old. You steady doing the same thing. I found weed in your room.
That wasn't even mine.
Who weed was it?
You know my friend was over here last time.
That's your problem. You hanging out with these little fast ass little girls.
I told her not to bring it in here.
No, you steady lying. That's your problem. You need to stop lying and go to school. All I asked you to do was go to school. I buy you everything you want. And you steady crying for what? All you got to do is do the right thing. But pack your stuff and get out of my house. You can leave now.
All right. Like I said, I have way too many opinions about this. All right. So while I gather my thoughts, comment down below what you guys think about the video. How do you guys think the dad reacted? Do you guys think it was warranted? Do you guys think it was unwarranted? Do you guys think that she should have got another chance, etc.? I made a lot of observations with this video, and I will say a lot of it is inference, right? I'm not for sure what the backstory is. All I know is, from what I understand, this is a troubled child. She is skipping school. She is smoking weed or hanging out with other children that do. She is in and out of trouble. She has problems, right? And just using context clues from the conversation, she more than likely lived with her mom. Her mom was tired of her and didn't know what to do and tapped the dad in as a disciplinarian. And that's where my issue lies with this. Now, let me just say right now, everything I'm about to say in this video, a lot of y'all are going to be genuinely upset. But I said what I said. I meant what I said. I'm going to say it again. And that's why a lot of y'all follow me, right? I say the things that nobody want to say, right? And first things first, just with the inference that I made of the logic of more than likely, this is one of those situations where daughter lived with her mother, it didn't work out, and more than likely mother to live with her father. Just based off of that, this is what happens when people choose to have children out of wedlock. I said what I said, I meant what I said, and I'm gonna say it again. But to add to that, this is also what happens when relationships are had, people get married, get divorced, and do not have a good co-parenting situation. This is what happens when the child is less important than your needs and wants as an adult and as a parent. This is what happens when a woman, or rather in this case, a girl, is not used to fatherly love or tough love or male direction or just having a father, period, tell her what to do. First of all, we're going to watch this again so I could go through this and I do not forget my thoughts, right? So let's go through this again. From bye bye la volume. We got to make sure we hear all of this shit, right?
I'm not going to keep doing this same thing in my house. You have to get out my house. I'm sorry, I don't know where you going to go, but you can call your mama and ask her, can you come back down?
You already know she don't want me with her, so.
My house. Saying my house is part of the problem. It is not your house. It is our house, right? You are taking your daughter in. You are her father. You want her to feel at home. You want her to feel comfortable. You want her to feel loved. You want her to feel nurtured. You want her to feel cared for. You sitting there referring to your house being your house and not our house or the house or something like that is part of the problem. Now, I know a lot of people probably wouldn't read into that, but as someone that has worked with kids in this type of capacity that are just like this, like literally I'm coaching a whole team of girls right now who are all just like this. Okay. And it's like, it's the subtle things. It's the little things. It's the, my mom doesn't care about me. My dad doesn't care about me. No one cares about me. So I'm going to do this for attention. And I want you guys to think of it that way versus, oh, this child doing so much. Oh, these little niggas be grown and they do whatever the fuck they want. Oh, they want to be grown till it's time to be grown. I need y'all to get that out of your heads. Because to be honest with you, as much as I cannot stand a lot of the types of children that act like this, I'm not even going to hold you. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating. And I can only imagine being the parent of a kid like this because you can't get rid of them. Okay, and that goes into my next point. There's no such thing as being tired and being done with a child. It's your child. You're stuck with them for the rest of your life, just like there's no such thing as being done with your parent. You're stuck with them for the rest of your life. Yes, you can cut them off. Yes, you can sit there and be like, oh, you know what, go no contact, whatever. But at the same time, they're still your parent. That is still your child. You're going to have to deal with them one way or another. And what's going to happen is you're going to continue a cycle. Okay, and speaking of cycles, a lot of you guys don't understand where this behavior comes from, right? You always hear these parents in these situations like, oh, I don't know why they act like that. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why they do this, da da da. And that goes into the whole idea of, oh, do what I say, not what I do, right? And the idea of nature versus nurture. A lot of y'all was out here popping cootie 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then when your kid does it, you're confused as to why it happens. You may be a God-fearing Christian now, but nature versus nurture. A lot of people always have debates about this, right? They're always like, oh, well, if you put a kid in a good environment, you do this, you do that, they won't turn out like you, or they won't do some of the things that you did. I'm not going to be shocked if I have a child that's cursing niggas out all day, because that's what I did as a kid. I'm not going to be shocked if I have a child that literally is like so outspoken that it gets them in trouble, because that was me. I'm not going to be shocked if I have a child that wants to be a YouTuber or wants to be a dancer, because again, that's me. My future child might do things that I do not wish them to do because I did it. But it also, like I said, goes into the whole idea of do what I say, not as I do, because a lot of y'all don't understand, right? And again, goes right back into nature and nurture. What you put out into the world is what you're going to get back. Okay. Whether we're talking about on a spiritual level or on a genetic level or on the idea of nature versus nurture. More than likely, if you were running the streets and doing whatever, you had a bad attitude, you was out here, you didn't like school, you didn't whatever, your kid might exhibit the same behavior. Okay, and this is why it is extremely important not to just have kids with any and everyone, not to just be out here willy-nilly, nutting at people and doing whatever the fuck you want and having divorces because, you know, someone said something that clicked with you from a TikTok post. Now all of a sudden you think, you know, oh, I need to get rid of my husband or my wife, or, you know, you see the next Instagram baddie walking and it's like, oh, well, you know, I'd rather be with her. Like, this is why having children and being married in a general sense is very, very important. Even if you choose not to, even if the relationship doesn't work, a very, very healthy co-parenting relationship has to exist. And you need to be in that child's life forever, not just when they're 2, when they're 12, when they're 18, now you're reconnecting with the kid. Or, oh, well, I'm sick and tired of this kid acting like this, I'm going to tap out. I just want to clarify this because I feel like you guys will understand better, right? For example, I'm completely different from my parents, but I literally am part of my family because my parents are very chill, very non-combative. They don't fight. Well, my dad does. Okay, he get like that when he has to, but for the most part, my mom very calm, very chill. I was raised in the hood, unfortunately, and that's why I am the way I am. I was slapping bitches for fun. You said something to me, I'm slapping you. I don't care. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Like, I was that type of person, and it's funny because, like, growing up, my parents thought I was an angel because on paper, I never got in trouble. Like, I wasn't out here getting suspended and stuff. I got suspended one time in high school, and that was because I planned that shit and I didn't care, and that she was gonna get slapped. Okay, point blank period, right? She was gonna get beat up. But in a general sense, there's been so many different occasions in life where my parents were trying to defend me or stop me from fighting, or stop they're not like that in general. Like, my parents are not gonna jump to combat, where for me, you skip in line, I'm confronting you and I'm telling you move. Because the fuck is we talking about? Like, I'm more like, than my parents are. And it's funny because my parents aren't like that, but the family is. The entire family's like that. And as I've gotten older, they're like, damn, like, look at you. You shit. No matter what we did, no matter how hard we tried to not get you to be like that, like, you're just like the rest of the family. Because the rest of my family's like that, but my parents are not. But I was also raised in the hood. So the thing is, if you have your kids in an environment that is not conducive to how you wish them to be, that nature that they might have of you running the streets, not like in school, doing drugs, whatever, mental illness, all of that is going to be triggered by the environment, as well as society, as well as the friends that they hold. But if it's like, if you're not setting them up for success by having a village, right? A 2-parent household, values, continuous effort and support, reading to them, like all of that shit really does matter, and it really does make a difference. A lot of people kind of just be like, oh, well, I had to go to work, or oh, I wasn't involved because, you know, I couldn't because XYZ. But it's like, don't complain when your kid comes out a certain way, because you got to put in that effort. Like my parents, as hard as they tried, it wasn't enough. Okay, point blank, period. We still ended up homeless. We still lived in the hood for an extended amount of time. That truly affected me. I still saw dead bodies drop when I was a kid. Like, and all of that truly affected me, and is the reason of why I am who I am today, both good and bad. You have to really make an effort to combat all of these things that you do not want your kid to be, especially if it is already in your nature, if it is already in your lineage, if it's already something that you've done. Like, the apple really doesn't fall too far from the tree if you are not actively trying to combat that. That's why that conversation, right, of like, oh, stay together for the child. You know, I want to be with the baby's father or the baby's mother for the child. I don't get too mad at them. I don't. As much as I don't think it's a great idea in the grand scheme, and that's what my parents did, to be quite honest with you. And it's one of those things where it's like I resent my mom for it, in a lot of ways, because I genuinely feel like she would have been happier. And my life would have been different if she left my dad, but at the same time, I'm grateful for it, because my dad knew for a fact I would run amok. And he's right, though. I would have ran amok if my parents would have separated. There was also another opportunity he had to move to another country to work, because he had like visa issues or whatever the case may be. And he said no. Okay. And we went broke. And I had an entire situation with that. If you guys have been watching me forever, you already know I was homeless in high school, all of that, et cetera, right? But at the same time, them staying together created a united front. Anytime I had an issue, I had one of them to rely on. Anytime I felt alone, again, I had one of them to rely on. There was never not an adult in the house, or not an adult I could rely on or ask whatever for. And those things that a lot of people may think are subtle, those things where, you know, a lot of parents like, oh, well, I'm mommy and daddy, it don't matter, da, da, da. This is when that shit actually matters. And this is why I'm so big on, like, at least being with somebody that could collaborate with you on any level, regardless of how the relationship goes. Because a lot of us, more than likely, we're watching this and we're like, oh, well, she want to be grown, right? Oh, well, she want to da-da-da-da-da. It's all fun and games till it's time to actually be grown. But it's like, that's not what it's about. It's not about her being grown. This is a cry for help. This is literally her acting the way she knows to act to get attention. This is her literally not knowing any better, because more than likely no one told her better. This is her reacting to being fathered, or having a father discipline her, and literally not being able to react to it in a positive way, because she's not used to it. Had this man been active in her life 1,000% in the home with the mom, whatever, you know what I mean, right? Had this been a traditional situation, more than likely she wouldn't be reacting to that. I'm not saying she wouldn't be doing this, because there's plenty of kids in two-parent households, loving families or whatever, that still shit do worse than this, right? But I'm saying her reaction to this discipline is very telling.
Why would you even?
I don't care. You keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing. I send you to school. You ditch your school. You steady calling these little boys. I told
I
you.
don't even talk to nobody.
Look, I told you to stay away from these little boys. We're not going to keep doing this. I'm not going over this no more with you. You have to get your stuff and get out my house.
You know what? It's very interesting, right? I feel like there's a lot of discourse online regarding girls, right? Or just Black kids in general, and the whole idea of being fast, right? You got these little girls being fast, calling these boys, talking to these boys. We ain't send them to talk to no boys, right? But then when this gets drilled in their head so much, the fact that they become gay, and we all know Black people homophobic as shit, okay? To the point where now this kid becomes gay because it was no boys, no boys, no boys. Okay, well, shit, girls is open then, right? Then it's, oh, I don't understand where they got that gay shit from. She's 14. She's gonna start dating. She's gonna start liking boys. Hormones are a real thing, right? Like, I can't stand this idea that we drill into kids of no boys, no girls, no this, no relations, no that. It's like, it's very toxic, and it's very detrimental to their development, because basically you're telling them boys are bad, girls are bad, relationships are bad. And then it doesn't help that their home relationship actually is legitimately bad. So they start looking at all relationships as bad. But in this regard, right, I understand where he's coming from. More than likely, I'm not going to say she's being promiscuous, but in this case, he's like, you know what? You're doing all these things. You keep talking to these boys. You're skipping school. You're doing what you're not supposed to do. And all you got to do is do the right thing, as he says later on in this video, right? But I think all of us, right, need to remember what it's like to be a kid. I feel like adults have children and forget that they were children. I feel like adults start working with kids and they automatically forget what it's like to be a kid. As many times as I have to basically reprimand or get very annoyed by a child's behavior, I always sit there and reflect to myself before I even go talk to this child, like, how was I when I was 16? Okay, horrible. Now let me approach this conversation as if I was a 16-year-old, because I understand, right? What's not serious to you is serious to them. What's serious to them is not serious to you. And that's also something I feel like all of us need to keep in mind, right? Whether we're dealing with our own children, nieces, nephews, children in our communities, a lot of their viewpoints are skewed because they're children. And we're adults. So the way we see shit is going to be completely different from the way they see shit, and that's okay. But to kind of like dismiss what this child is more than likely going through, and not get to the underlying cause, or better yet, try to remove yourself from the situation because you're doing too much, you're not listening, you're bad as shit, is an issue. Again, I know too many kids in this boat, man. Like, it's unfortunate because a lot of us do write them off as badass kids. We write them off as kids that are beyond reproach, that are beyond repair. And the punishment never fits the demise. Kicking a 14-year-old out is probably one of the most stupid things you can do. More than likely illegal, right? But technically he's not kicking her out, right? He's sending her back to her mom's house. But that might be just as bad because she came from there and obviously she was sent to you and now you can't deal with her, right? We gotta really think about that, right? Like, yes, I'm sick of her. She's not listening. She's causing me problems. She's being disrespectful, etc. But you kicking her out, or you putting her out, or you sending her to her mom's house is going to more than likely make the situation worse.
You have to get your stuff and get out my house. Yes, you have to figure it out. You gotta figure it out. I'm tired. Call your mama right now. Call your mama. See, that's your problem. That's your problem right now. Your attitude. You're only 14 years old. Call your mama. Here, call your mama right now. You gotta get out my house. I'm done. You too grown.
Look at the body language. She's shaking her leg. He's saying, I'm done. He touches her. She says, don't touch me. More than likely, this is a child that is not that comfortable with her father. This says, I don't know you like that, so don't fucking touch me. Point blank, period. You're my dad. I love you as my dad, but I don't know you like that. Back up off me. That's literally what this is. Like, literally, just, first of all, I would never tell my dad not to touch me. Like, or any family member I genuinely grew up with, right? Especially any that is like, I mean, I would assume taking me in or trying to help me out. Like, granted, right? She's a disrespectful child, da-da-da-da-da. But let's be real. For those of us that grew up with our fathers full time in the household, whatever the case may be, you really gonna tell your dad not to touch you no matter how mad you are? You're going to seek that comfort. You're going to seek that validation. You're going to seek any little bit of hope that you can get, even in this type of situation. Like, mind you, y'all already know I've done the story times, okay? I can't say I was a horrible child. I mean, looking back, I would have slapped the shit out of me, right? But I was great on paper. I was great in school, but outside I was running amok. I was whooping ass. I was this, I was that. My parents didn't know until I became an adult. But it's like, even at that, even if I would have got caught up, right, in a lot of the shit that I was doing, and my parents would try to talk to me and whatever, jig is up, like, let me relax, let me stop doing all this goofy shit, right? This girl, she's beyond that. The fact that he even had to get tapped in as a disciplinarian is definitely a telltale sign that it was too far gone. She's 14, ain't no instilling discipline, ain't no instilling laws and trying to be whatever it is that you think you are, because at this point, this child doesn't know you. And it's weird to say that because it's like a lot of people kind of, especially Black people, oh, well, I'm your dad, well, I'm your mom, or I'm your cousin, I'm your sister. Okay. All motherfuckers is just people until y'all build the relationship. It does not mean you're automatically going to receive respect from whoever just because you're related. And I think a lot of us need to get that through our thick skulls, okay? Just because that is your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother or your cousin doesn't mean they're going to be loyal. Just because that is your daughter, your son, your niece, your nephew, etc., doesn't mean they're going to automatically love you. You have to build those relationships. And one thing I will say I admire about this newer generation is that they're very open about that. They're not going to sugarcoat for you, and they're not going to just, accept you with open arms simply because you're family or because, you think that they're supposed to give you respect. I'll give them that. But I do feel like a lot of these kids do take it to an extreme. Where it's just like, y'all are just disrespectful as fuck to any and everyone that whoever you want to be disrespectful to. And it's an issue. It's like, no, you should respect people as adults. I'm not saying you got to roll out the red carpet for them and let them say whatever it is to you because they're an adult or because they're related to you. But it's just like, in this case, you could tell there's a long history of bullshit there.
You too grown. You're only 14 years old. You steady doing the same thing. I found weed in your room.
That wasn't even mine.
Who weed was it?
You know my friend was over there last time.
That's your problem. You hanging out with these little fast-ass little girls.
I told her not to bring it in.
No, you steady lying. That's your problem. You need to stop lying and go to school.
I need to touch back on this whole idea of calling little girls, especially little black girls, fast. It genuinely bothers me. Because funny enough, I wasn't a hoe as a kid, but I was called fast. I never understood that. Or they didn't call me fast. I think in Haitian culture, it's called show. They used to be like, "Oli show." Basically, I'm hype. I was always hype. I was always very extra, but like I'm also bipolar. So it's like my highs are high as fuck. My lows are low as shit. So they used to be like, "Oh, Lee Shaw. Like, oh, why would you want to deal with her, Lee Shaw? Bitch, because I'm the shit." But that's not the point. I can't stand when people call little girls, especially little black girls, fast. Because why are we not trying to understand the underlying behavior behind that? For me, I was undiagnosed, and also I was homeless. I was going through whatever that I was going through growing up, and no one cared to check in on that or take that into consideration before they started talking shit about me behind my back, saying this, that, and the third. And that type of shit is going to make a child, or better yet, make anyone angry. Everyone is so quick to be like, "Oh, I don't like this person because this. Oh, well, this little girl that. Oh, that little boy doing too much, da-da-da." Why don't we get down to the nitty-gritty of why this person may be acting like that? Why don't we get down to, you know what? Maybe this child might need help, but it's always, oh, they fast, they this, they that. It's like, I don't get what y'all get from that. And also, like, just the sexualization of children also needs to be addressed in a general sense. Like, am I the only one triggered by the word fast? It's like, seriously. And then to be like, oh, well, you're hanging out with all these fast little kids and all these little girls that are fast, and I found weed in your room. And that it's like, why don't we figure out why the child wants to smoke weed and why she's hanging out with fast little girls? Like, we got to really think about this. What examples have been provided to this child to show that she can do better and she can get better friends? What examples and discipline and etc. have been provided to show this child that there's a better way? Because what I genuinely don't understand is we have these children in broken homes. We live in the hood, in the worst districts. We put them in the worst schools with the worst teachers and the worst principals with even worse children. And then we're confused when they turn out fucking crazy. Not all kids are going to turn out like that. At the end of the day, there's always going to be, that little skew that navigates the drug dealing and, being put in an environment that honestly is against them, right? Shit, I'm one of those. Grew up in the hood, got a bachelor's, master's. I run 2 businesses, and now I just found a nonprofit. I definitely am that small percentage that made it out. But I also have friends that made it out. Police officers, lawyers, shit, working for City Hall, all types of shit. But I have friends that are legitimate statistics. Do I love them any less? No. But at the same time, I understand that their upbringing, okay, the system, let me just say their upbringing and their circumstances were completely against them. And the fact that they fell into it is not 1,000% their fault. It does come to a point where you become an adult and you need to start making better choices. But this is a 14-year-old. And in situations like this, disciplining your child in this way, doubling down on them in this way, taking them in after they were basically thrown at you because they had a discipline problem, and then just being like, you know what, get out of my house, go back to your mom type shit. the punishment does not fit the demise that is going to follow this child in the long run from this interaction.
All I asked you to do was go to school. I buy you everything you want. And you steady crying for what? All you got to do is do the right thing. But pack your stuff and get out of my house.
I don't like that. You steady crying for what? Bitch, she's getting kicked out. Like, like, is it just me that just be so confused when these parents be like, what you crying for? Nigga, it's a sad occasion. Whether it's my fault or not, it's a sad occasion. You're allowed to cry. I feel like we do not allow our Black and brown people to cry or be emotional, whether they are a male or they're a female, they're a child or they're an adult. It's like, fuck you crying for. Like, and I'm guilty of this shit. I even be having to catch myself when someone comes to me and they start crying about some shit, because I don't know if it's the Capricorn or the bipolar in me or whatever. Like, I just be sitting there like, the fuck you crying for? I keep it to myself, but I don't say that shit out loud. But it's like, we need to do better. As a society and as a whole, like, we need to do better, because it's like, why would you say that to somebody that's genuinely going through something mental? Like, oh, the fuck you crying for? Like, what do you mean the fuck you crying for? I'm crying because I'm sad. This is a sad situation. Bro, why I just noticed I did this whole video without my nose ring? Is it noticeable? I'm gonna have to put it on for the next video. Like I've always said on this channel, there's a way to do things, and one way not to do things is to drag your child on social media for their lack of discipline, especially when you are part of the discipline that they lack. You cannot be an absentee or a part-time parent and then get mad at how that child acts. At the end of the day, right? Again, I'm making inferences, but I think it's pretty clear that this child does not have or did not have all the tools that they needed to succeed at this age of 14. And yes, 14 is not fully grown, and 14 is far from having a fully developed brain. But at the same time, this child is acting like that for a reason. I understand that there's people that are fully staffed with their community, right? Both parents in the home, aunts, uncles, all that, and still act like this. And in regards to that, there's always something. Okay, there's always an underlying cause or something that we don't see, right? Outside looking in. And especially, like, I'll say, especially Haitians, right? Haitians are big on the, oh, well, I put a roof on your head. I put food in your belly. Shit. Black people, let me not resist. Oh, well, I gave you everything you wanted. I don't know why you act like this. That's part of the problem. Why are you giving this kid shit? If they act like this, right, and they're such horrible children, why are we giving them any incentives? Just going to school is fucking bare minimum. That's what they're supposed to do. Like, talk about, oh, well, I sent you to school and I told you I'll buy you whatever the fuck you want. Like, that's horrible. Like, you're enabling bad behavior. And that just tells me that literally the bar was set in hell. You should have high standards for your children. And part of having high standards is holding them accountable when they do caca. And I could tell this kid just kept doing caca and caca and caca. And now caca boye. Okay. Now the shit is hitting the fan, because it's like, you know what? I'm tired. I gave you chances. But it's like, no, you enabled shitty behavior. And I'm saying this with love, right? For a lot of you guys who are watching this, who are parents, or you have kids like this, or you are a kid like this. If you're a kid like this, first things first, nobody's going to deal with your shit. One thing I do admire about new parents is we're not dealing with anyone's shit. I will say it's not okay to give up on your child, but I completely understand it, because like I said, I work with a group of girls like this that I am responsible for, and it is extremely difficult and it is extremely emotionally taxing to deal with it. But at the same time, I implore you to find out what the underlying cause is. And what's interesting is I have these sessions with my girls every week, right? And it's interesting, whether they're one-on-one or it's like the group sessions. Every single time they talk about what can make life better or what causes them to be the way they are, why they're smoking, why they're promiscuous, why they're selling drugs, it always leads back to my mom or my dad doesn't talk to me. My mom or my dad wasn't there. My mom or my dad doesn't listen. Like, literally, it could go from like a whole 30-minute explanation of, oh, well, I take care of myself and I do whatever for myself. No one did anything for me. My mom never listened to me. Be like the last thing. And it's like, that's very interesting. Like, it always links back to that. A lot of you guys may be, looking at me and thinking, oh, well, I work a 12-hour shift. That don't mean they got to be out here, selling drugs. For you as an adult, okay, you have that rationale to think that way. For children, they don't. For children, they see it as, you're my parent, you don't do shit. or you don't do what I want you to do, and I'm going to do what I want to do or what I have to do in order to get your attention or do what it is or get what it is that I want because you're not providing that. And it's weird because it took me a while. Like all the years I've had working with kids in that particular demographic are very, very smart. Smarter than we give them credit for, but they're also very, very empathetic to a fault. Okay, they absorb everything around them. What you think is small, what you think is minuscule, what you think is not that serious is very serious to them. Not spending time, not taking them out, not like genuinely talking to these kids and seeing how they are, what they want, how they feel is going to be the demise of your relationship. Spend time with your kids. Be happy you have kids. A lot of people can't have kids. Don't just write them off. Don't just give them away. Don't tap someone in as a disciplinarian. It's your job. Even if it does work, right? Say if this had worked, she would have more than likely stopped respecting her mom because she would have probably saw it as, oh, well, you had to tap my dad and he never did shit. Like, why would you even do that? She might have started respecting the dad a little more, but it's a cop-out. It really is. And now the cop-out didn't work in this case, but it's like, you know, for the kids that are watching this, but also, you know, for the adults watching this who, again, have kids like this or went through something similar, yeah, to be honest, you have to have a lot of patience to have a kid. This is why everybody shouldn't have a kid. This is why I personally don't have a kid yet, because I don't have that type of patience. Like, even dealing with the group of kids that I deal with now, I want to quit every day. And I did. And did. For those of you guys on my... For those guys on my vlog channel, yeah, coming soon. I'll be doing the story times on there versus on here. But it was that bad. But it wasn't totally the kids. It was a big part of it because it was like, I'm not about to deal with kids that genuinely don't care to have a coach. Like, I don't have time for that. But also, I wasn't dancing. I was supposed to be a dance coach. The whole idea was discipline through art. Or sports. In this case, I was a dance coach, and these kids just didn't want to dance. And when they did, it was TikTok dances. Bitch, I'm a professional. I'm not about to be sitting here doing TikTok dances with y'all all day. It's not, absolutely fucking not. And then they were rude as hell. And then one day they tried to be like, oh, we gonna get you fired. I kindly exit. So shout out to you guys, okay, who are parents of kids like this, because I cannot. I cannot, especially like dealing with 20 of them. No. Chasing them, making sure they're coming to school. Parents just as bad as the kids now. Throwing desk, threatening to beat up or better yet kill teachers and shit. Like, this shit is worse than what meets the eye most of the time. So I'm honest with myself, and I feel like being a parent or working with kids genuinely requires you to be extremely honest with yourself, right? To a point where you don't think you would ever have to be honest with yourself in that type of capacity. I implore all of you guys who have children in your lives to speak to them, see what they're going through, see where their head is at, why they react the way they do to certain things, and most importantly, what you can do to be the change that they need to be better. And I guarantee you, just that little bit of, sometimes just that little bit of attention, just that little bit of acting, or not even acting, showing that you actually care can go a long way for these kids. With that being said, I know I had a lot to say. Like, I didn't expect to really be sitting here talking this long, but I hope you guys genuinely enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you guys think about this video. Are you guys on the dad side, the kid side? Are you neutral? I'm very much so neutral because I get it working with these types of kids. But at the same time, that's your kid, man. And she's only 14. She's learning. There's only so much you can do. And honestly, putting her out after she was already put out is not going to help the situation. So with that being said, of course, like, share, and subscribe. Join the Patreon or the free Discord. And of course, we have memberships on this channel enabled, as well as memberships on my Haitian channel. Again, we have 3 channels. We have the main channel, which is rants, reactions, and commentary on Black culture, as well as scams, a little bit of teacher content here and there. We have my Haitian channel, which deals with Haitian voodoo, politics, and folklore. And then, of course, personal channel is vlogs, story times, things of the sort. Shout outs to those of you guys who have been congratulating me on the nonprofit. I appreciate it more than anything. Again, donation link is down below. If you are in North New Jersey, I want to see you in my classes. All right. Again, going to be linked down below. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I post most of my dance content, as well as like I post like little rants or whatever. Because, you know, I'll be talking or whatever. Shout out to those of you guys who already did all of that. And of course, like I said, we are going to Brazil 2026. Thank you for all of you guys who already purchased your tickets. I cannot wait to see you guys. I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much for supporting me. It means more than you will ever understand. I feel like I genuinely don't tell you guys that enough. So I'm going to say it again. Thank you. With that being said, like, share, subscribe. I think I said that already, but do all that. And I'm going to see y'all next time. Bye.